Good afternoon, everyone. Sige, we'll start in a minute or two, no? Just wait for the others. Uh, Thanks for the greetings. Sige. How many are you? We're 18 already. Good number so far, no? Sige. Once we hit 20 plus, then we can start. Sige, I think we can start, no? Thank you for joining. We didn't have class last week, no? So this is our first time to meet each other. I hope you can see my screen, no? Can someone confirm? You can see the deck, no?
Yes po.
Yes, sir.
Right, great, thanks. Let me just, wait a minute, no? Let me just adjust my volume, huh? Wait lang. Okay, it's maxed already. Okay, sige, let's start now. Sige, so we'll start with just a quick recap of Module 0 or introduction to the course before we jump into Module 1. So we'll actually start with Module 1 tonight because we didn't have class last week. So I'll just go over a few key points now. Hopefully you've gone through the syllabus. So I'll just present some highlights. No, just wanted to, but please, no, I hope you find some time to browse through to go over the syllabus. It's quite lengthy, but because I'm just gonna discuss some key highlights. Right. So first introductions, no. Well, ground rules first. No, it's being recorded. No, every session is automatically recorded. No, I like that the fact that Zoom has that setting. No, and we're recording it because just in case some of you are not able to attend class, no, and you want to, no, but you have internet connectivity issues or or some other thing. Um, so I post it usually the next day, no, after class on Canvas and on YouTube. No, I embed a YouTube video, no, of the recording. Always mute yourself unless you're speaking. Please let me know if you want to say something, no, or type it in the chat box as well, or ask permission through the chat box. No, please, no, not really a pet peeve, but it saves me the trouble of reading the chat box. No? If for example I ask the class any questions, don't don't type no questions because I will think you have a question because the chat box is lighting up. No? So if you don't have questions, don't just do anything. Ganun na lang. Cameras switched on is preferred, but of course, it's not required, especially if you have bandwidth issues as well. And please let me know as soon as possible if I'm breaking up. So just to introduce myself, I'm J.D. Quiros. I graduated 22 years, almost 22 years ago. No? MECO. I am an Atenean since prep. No? So throughout my what do you call this, academic formation, I was in Ateneo. So, but then I did my master's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, master's in public policy and management at Carnegie Mellon University. I'm now currently working, no, so I'm teaching only part time. So I'm my full-time day job is really at USAID Philippines. It's the U.S. Agency for International Development. For those of you, most of you probably know what USAID is, but for those who don't know, we are what we call a donor agency. It's part of the U.S. government. We are in the U.S. Embassy. We actually have projects that provide developmental assistance, and humanitarian assistance as well. Projects to support the Philippines in economic development, health, education, environment, climate change, and democracy and governance as well. So previously, I was also with the World Bank, another donor, as we call them, as we call ourselves. Government also, after my volunteer year, I worked in government for I think 6 years, close to 6 years now, at what we call the National Anti-Poverty Commission. Mind you, if you're thinking about it, government is always a good thing to pursue or explore. No? Good experience, and it's good for you to serve as well. Also, some experience with the non-government sector. There's this NGO called Peace and Equity Foundation in Esteban, Abada. If you know Got Heart, that's where they're located, next to Got Heart, Foundation for Media Alternatives. Now doing a lot of work with digital divide and disinformation issues. And just wanted to make a plug for JVP. I was also a Jesuit volunteer. I did Jesuit Volunteers Philippines for a year right after college. No? So I was assigned to Zamboanga City, no? Where I taught economics there. No? But you can also be sent to other places. No? Could be far-flung, could be city. It really depends. No? They try to match your skills with the needs, no, of the areas that you serve. So check it out if you want to do some volunteer work for a year after college. This might be for you. You can reach me through email. No? That's my email address there, no, at the bottom of the screen. So now, no, even just today, if you can switch on your cameras while we're doing the round robin, if you can go around, if you can show yourself, no? Please let me state your name and your nickname, and let me know if you are not from economics, no? Not an econ student. No? So I'll call each one of you, no? So it's more orderly. Just nickname and nickname. Especially if you didn't rename your Zoom account. Let me start with participants. Okay. All right, let's start with Elena Arroyo.
Hello.
Elena, sorry. Can you speak a bit louder?
Hi, I'm Alina Arroyo. You can call me Alina. I'm from KAB Economics.
Great. Thanks, Elena. All right. Next is Angela Favis.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Good. Good.
Hello. I'm Angela Favis from 3ABECH. You can call me Angela or Favis if you want to call my last name.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thanks. For those of you who are okay with showing yourselves on camera, please do so. No? So at least I get to see you. It's less lonely me talking to the screen. If you only are okay with it. Thank you, Angela. And there's another Angela, Angela Mendoza.
Yes, sir. Hi, I'm Angela. I'm from 3AB Economics. You can call me Jella.
Jella. Okay, thanks, Jella. All right. Next is Arabella Tan.
Hello, sir. I'm Arabella Tan. You can call me Bella, and I'm from 3AB Economics as well.
Okay, thanks, Bella. Arian Mondehar.
Hi, yes. Hi, I'm Arian Wandehar. You guys can call me Arya. I'm also from 3AB Economics Honors. Nice to meet you
Great.
guys.
Thanks, Arya. And Austin Martin.
Hi, sir. I'm Austin. I'm from Econ.
Thank you. Thanks, Austin. Next is Basti De Luna.
Yes, sir. Hi, sir. I'm Sebastian from 3AB Economics as well.
All right.
You can call me Seb, or Basti, sir. Anything is okay naman.
Sige. Probably Basti. Great. Thanks, Darwin.
Hello, sir. I'm Darwin, and I'm from Econ also.
All right. Thank you, Darwin. Next is Dieter Arias.
Hi, sir. My name is Jesus Metelo Arias III, but you can call me Dieter. I am also in econ as well.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Dieter. All right. Next is Ivan Placer.
Hi, sir. I'm Leanne Ivan Beatrice Placer, but I go by Ivan, and I'm also from the economics honors.
All right. I thought you were a guy, so Ivan. All right. Great. Placer. No, sorry for saying Placer. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's okay.
All right. Next is Jack Wong.
Sorry, I just joined lang po. This is what's on the screen is what am I going to say lang po, right?
Yeah, just your name and nickname. And if you're not from Econ, tell me what's your.
Okay, sige po. Hi, my name is Jack. You can also call me Jack. That's in that po.
All right. Thank you, Jack. Jesus Venancio Viray.
Hi, sir. You can call me JV instead, and I'm from 3AB Economics Honors.
JV. All right. Sige. Great. Thanks. Next is Joaquin Atienza.
Hello, sir. I'm Joaquin. I'm from 3AB Economics.
All right. Thank you, Joaquin. Next is Justin Jimenez.
Hi, sir. I'm Justin Jimenez. You may call me Justin. I'm from 3AB Econ Honors.
All right. Thanks, Justin. Next is Christina Tixon.
Hi, sir. I'm Christina, and I'm a fifth-year econ double major.
All right, great. Thank you. Next is Lorenzo Barzaga.
Hi, sir. I'm Lorenzo Berzaga, but you can call me Enzo. I'm from 3AB ECH.
All right, thank you, Enzo. Next is Meg Australia.
Hi everyone, you can call me Meg and I'm also in AP Economics.
Great, thanks, Meg. Next is Mina Mata.
Hi, I'm Nina. I'm from 3AB Econ H.
Thanks, Mina. Next is Nico Neri.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nico.
Thanks, Nico. Next is Patrick David Magdaluyo. Sorry, I'm having difficulty hearing you. If you can speak up a bit louder lang. Patrick, sorry.
Oh, hello.
Oh, great. Sige.
Yeah, hi sir. I'm Patrick. I'm from 3AB Economics.
All right, thank you, Patrick. And then Roland Basig.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Roland, but I go by POE. Yes.
You go by what again? Sorry.
POE.
POE. All right.
Yeah.
Sige.
Thanks.
Thank you. It's like me, no? My nickname is Jay. My real name is Emil, so it's really far. All right, great. Next is Yasmin Aden Centeno.
Hello, my name is Yasmin Aden Santano, but you can call me Yasi. I'm from 3AB Economics Honors.
Okay, great. Thanks, Yasmin. Last but not the least is Zuriel Benedict Uy.
Hello everyone. I'm Zuriel Uy from 3AB Economics Honors. Nice to meet you all.
All right, thank you. Anyone I left out, maybe, or someone who joined us just a few minutes ago? Yeah, I don't think I left out anyone. Sige, thank you. No, I mean, feel free to switch off your cameras, but I do prefer that at least a few of you are showing yourselves on camera, para it's less lonely. But it's really up to you, no? Especially given bandwidth issues. All right, thank you. So the course is divided into 5 parts, no? And we call it the 5 Ps. No? So the first module is most likely it will be not it will be familiar to you, no? The problems, especially when we discuss development challenges, SDGs, etc. No? So that might be a good review of your Econ 121 course. No? I think you had that last sem, if I'm not mistaken. And parameters, it's followed by how do we measure the issues. No? So we'll go into income and non-income poverty there. No? I will breeze through the income part of poverty because you probably discussed that quite extensively, no, in Econ 121. So we'll focus more on the non-income part and also having some local level non-income discussion on non-income indicators. The third is now we go into more substantive parts. So what do you do with the problems? No? And after you've measured them. So some theories, no, and models how to develop faster, better, more sustainable. No? We'll do a quick recap of the mainstream theories, no? But I'll provide some more alternative viewpoints, no? Including participatory development, etc., etc., and investment climate as well. Then we'll go into policies, no? Some policies that government can enact, no? And then lastly, no, together with your final integrated output, no, I'll be providing an introduction, especially if some of you will try out a career in development. No? This might be useful to you. How do you analyze problems systematically and how you develop interventions more systematically. But the last part, no, would be useful not just for your careers, no, eventually, but even for your day-to-day lives, no? Especially if some of you are officers in your respective Ateneo organizations. No? These may be useful to you. All right. Your grades will be based on 4 things, just 4 things. 20% of your grade will go to online discussions. The course will have, I think I haven't finished the entire course yet, no? Because I usually use my old Canvas courses as my base, but I try to refresh them, especially with new material. So I will have, I think, between 8 to 10 discussion boards, no, throughout the Canvas course. The second output will be, which will account for 25%. I want you to group yourselves into pairs. It's a dyad paper. Choose your own partner. I think we are an even numbered class. So I don't expect anyone to be a trio. No? But just in case, no, because I think there might still be some people who are doing load rev, might be joining us or leaving us. If we, by the end of the day, we become an odd-numbered class, then one group can be a trio. So up to you guys, no? Who to choose as your partner. The third one, which will be 25% as well, is a group minor report, no? Which will be the application of modules 3 and 4. No? We'll actually critique a law, no? An existing law in the Philippines. The fourth is the final integrated output. It will be an integrated output with your NSTP Big Kiss classes and possibly your econometrics class as well. But we are still finalizing the guidelines. So give us some time, no? To finalize these things. If you, one person has reached out to me already. No? If you have some extraordinary or unique circumstances, and so for example, you're done with NSTP, of course, we don't expect you to go through NSTP again. Let me know. No? So we might assign a different final integrated output for you. So we'll see. Just let me know if you have questions or you can ask later. No? There's our main reference textbook will be Todaro. No? I actually already shared it in module 1. No? So the entire book. So I was having problems with e-reserve. So yeah, I gave you a PDF copy of the entire thing. So that's yours already. But if you want, if you fall in love with Todaro, feel free. I think you can buy it at Pearson, at the Pearson website for $125. No? So if you want to burn $125, feel free. No? But no need really to buy. And you know, I don't really use Todaro extensively. I really pepper the course. If you, as you'll notice, no, with a lot of other readings, short articles, and videos, no, which I'll share on Canvas. platforms. This is our main, Canvas will be our main learning management system. And then this will be our Zoom meeting link. No? So please, I will no longer, maybe just next week, no, but after next week, I will no longer post an announcement saying that, hey, we are having another synchronous session. This is the link. No, no more. No. I expect that you already know the link. No. If you get lost somehow, you forget the link, consult. I will also post this slide, this deck. No, consult this or go up the. It's at the top. It will always be at the top of the modules page. So please keep the link. So unless I say otherwise or it's a holiday, assume that we will have class every Tuesday. So I don't need to remind you anymore. So again, as we have discussed previously, it's been this is the 4th semester that we are on an online, purely online setup. The bulk of the learning will actually be done, should be done. The bulk of your learning should be done on Canvas, not through these synchronous sessions. So each week, treat these synchronous sessions as a complement or as a summary of what you're already learning on Canvas. So it's either a recap, or if you're a bit falling behind on Canvas, it's an introduction for things that you will learn on Canvas. So all the sessions will just be between, since I expect you to be learning more on Canvas, you'll just spend not the entire 3 hours, no? Unless you have so many questions. It will just be between 1.5 to 2 hours, or sometimes even less than 1.1. So it really depends. Today, hopefully, today it's going to be less than 2 hours. Definitely. But it might be more than 1.5. It really depends. Really depends. So these are also found in the syllabus. You can contact LS1 if you have, if you want a low bandwidth version. I think they can make that available. Remember, no gender discrimination, no cyberbullying, especially during not just during the synchronous sessions, but also on the discussion boards. There will be no attendance check during the synchronous sessions. It will be recorded and posted at the end of each corresponding module. So for example, tonight's session will be posted at the end of module 1. Okay, so I do that every time. So next week, since we're going to start module 2, I'll post that at the end of module 2. And part 2 of module 2, I'll also post that at the end of the corresponding module. I prefer, again, that you open your camera, but it's not required. That's fine with me. You can, for group outputs, no? I'm not requiring individual outputs this time around. For the papers, no? Late submissions are okay, but they will merit a 5-point deduction per day delayed. Of course, there will be exceptions, no? If you have poor internet connectivity, and but you have to give me proof that it was completed by the deadline. So you can, for example, if you're working on Google Docs, no, you can send me the file, and I can see that the version history, was only up to a certain date. Okay, yun. Or do a screenshot of file, the Windows Explorer, for example, saying that this file was last modified on this date. So I'll need proof. But bottom line, do not wait until the last hour or few minutes before the deadline. All my deadlines are 11:59 p.m. So don't wait until 11:58. No, one group last semester waited until the last few minutes. No, they ended up submitting it 12:01 kasi nagka-internet issues. So don't wait. That's the point of this. And reminder on universities' policies on academic integrity. I've already failed students, no, not for the class, no, but for a particular output last semester. Nahuli ko sila. It's kind of obvious actually. No? Although now I will be using, no, based on that, no, I didn't want to use software before they turn it in, no? But now I'm gonna use it for all my classes, no. Kasi may nahuli ako, eh. So I subjected all the outputs na, no, just to be on the safe side. But even without that, no, it's kind of obvious if you plagiarize work, no. Kasi the writing style may be different, etc., etc. Please be mindful of that. Kasi I know, no, because you're in your third year, people are what do you call this? People are juggling 5 or 6 subjects at the same time. Sometimes the deadlines will coincide with one another or the same week, no. Sometimes dahil sa pagmamadali, you're rushing things. It's easy to copy paste, but avoid that that temptation kasi it will become obvious, especially if it's a professional article, no, or journal or paper. It's kind of obvious, no, the writing style. So, please be mindful and check each other. You can say na, ay sir, kasi si who wrote this last part, siya lang nag-plagiarize, so siya lang dapat. No, it's a group output. No? And if you go back to the policies on academic integrity, it's the responsibility of the entire group, whether it's only one person who committed that error. Other group mates should check. Sige. Mabait naman ako. I did not fail them for the class. I could have, but I failed them for that output. All right. Ito, class Beadle and alternate class Beadle. It's easy, no? I just need, this is required, so I need to submit your names to on the ISIS. I need to tag you as the Beadle or the alternate Beadle. Can I request for volunteers? No? The job is easy. It's basically a liaison. No? Especially if sometimes students are kind of embarrassed or nahihiya, no, to go straight to me, especially if they have some concerns, no, and you can act as the go between, no? The liaison, and then you don't need to remind me to record the sessions na because it's automatically done. Liaison lang, no? Especially if I want you also to spread the word, no, tell your classmates some important announcement. I will also try to tap you, but that's it. Any volunteers, please? Taking volunteers now. You can type on the chat box or you can raise your hand. Wala? Or should I select randomly? Okay, Zuriel, you have to remind me of your nickname, huh? Sige, Zuriel, are you volunteering to be the Beadle?
Yes, sir. Apo.
Thank you very much. What's your nickname, Zuriel?
Zuriel is fine na po. Yun na po yung tawag sa akin.
Great. Sige, Zuriel, thank you very much as the Beadle. Okay, next is alternate Beadle. Please, just someone, just in case Zuriel is, knock on wood, is not able to perform. Parang Miss Universe.
I can volunteer for
all right, Arya
na lang.
Arya.
Yes.
All right, great. Arya and Monday. All right, let me just type your names. All right, thank you very much, Zuriel and Arya. All right, next, consultations. You can consult with me after class. So again, it's 5 to 6:30. So for example, if you have concerns, so you can talk to me after class, mga 6:30 or 7. So, but please let me know beforehand, no? The day before preferably, or the morning before class, no? Kasi I may have another appointment, no? So, or if that doesn't work, schedule an appointment between 3 to 5 on Friday, or if it still doesn't work, email. Maybe we can find another schedule. Kasi again, I teach, no? I work, no? Full-time 8 to 5. So mahirap din if it's outside of these hours. Important, no? So you have two options, no? I'm sure you're familiar with this, no? Just to abide by the and to protect ourselves, no? From harassment, no? Protect yourselves from harassment, potential harassment. Either a third party must be present, not a family member. Don't pull your mom, no? To join the meeting. Bawal yun. Or could be a classmate, could be the BDL or whoever, no? Or could be one-on-one pa din, but we have to put it in writing that we will do this, but I will record the session and I will send it to you unadulterated. Like, walang edit. Yun. So that's your choice. I think that's reasonable kasi it's I don't also want to waste the time of the third party then. Especially if that's a student as well. No? That's still 30 minutes or whatnot. But you don't have to consult with me all the time. If you have short questions, no, and students have done this since I started teaching 4 semesters ago. No? You can email me or shoot me a Canvas message for short questions. But if it's too long, and I will propose na maybe we can have a consultation instead because it's also tiresome sometimes to type long messages. Pwedeng consultation. Grading system. This is the standard grading system for most SOCSI 13 courses. No? For me, B is already good. No? B plus and A. No, I will give you that grade for a paper or for your. For the entire course, no? If you did some extra intellectual work, and given the online setup, no, you can have W, no, if you are not able to fulfill less than a third, no. If you're able to fulfill only less than a third of the requirements, no? And incomplete, no, especially no when I think last semester when Typhoon Rhino, si Odette hit the Philippines, no. Some had really, and even up to now, no, some students have difficulty with internet connectivity. So some of them just had an incomplete grade, and then they finished the requirements after the semester. Pwede yun for extraordinary circumstances. So think about it, especially if you're negatively affected by COVID, etc., or typhoons or other shocks. Last thing, no, that I want to, before we get into the actual subject matter, this is important, no. Cura personalis, no. I'm not sure if most of you are familiar with this, no. Cura personalis is a very Jesuit, it's a Jesuit philosophy, no. It means caring for the entire person, no. Ateneo is training you guys in terms of academic skills, no. Pero we do not forget that all of us are human beings. So please do let me know, no, if you have stressful circumstances that would warrant some additional accommodation. So for example, COVID-19 infection, you yourselves are undergoing that, or someone in the family is being affected. And especially, no, for group work, especially if you know that that person is facing some challenges, no, take care of one another, be understanding. If they have to forego academics, no, for their health or for their parents' health or whoever, no, do not push them, no. Kunyari, uy, sige na, tama na yan, stop resting or stop taking, no. Do not push them to do too much schoolwork, no. Let me know, no. I'm open to dialogue, especially in these extraordinary times. Just remember, be kind to each other. Yun lang. That's cura personalis. It's not all academics. Yun lang. That's all I have to say. So let's take care of one another. Any questions on this short introduction before we jump into the actual course? Sige. You can ask questions again later on. No? Sige, let's jump into Module 1. No? And this might be a recap of your Econ 121. But it's always good to reinforce your past learnings. So we'll do a quick review of development challenges, no, and go through some of the country's aspirations, no. We'll now distinguish between development and growth, and we'll spend some time on discussing the SDGs. No? There's an update na every year naman kasi they update the SDG trends. No? So, and then we'll also go through. We'll try to revisit no, some of the most significant impacts of COVID-19, and then the seeing the poor part. No, we might reserve that for next week, but I'll discuss that as well. All right, I want you to take roughly around 3 to 5 minutes, and I will wait a minute. I will, oops, sorry. I will share this. Wait a minute. I will share this. Oops, sorry. Take 3 to 5 minutes. I'll paste it on the chat box. You guys are experts already with Jamboard, I'm sure. Tell me your ideas. What are some of the big development challenges in the world and in the Philippines? So page 1 and then page 2. So please do that for the next 5 minutes na lang. Sige. So we'll resume in at 5:41. Go ahead. No need to do extra research, just top of your head. What are the big ones? I will try to group them, no, as you guys are working on it. Okay, that's the alarm. All right. Sige. I will. Are you seeing the Jamboard on the screen or not?
No po. It's just
No,
a
sir.
timer.
I have to share it. No? All right, I'll share it now. Kasi sometimes I prefer Google Meet kasi you can share the entire window, then you can follow me when I change windows. No? Sige, let me share this now. Sige. All right, thank you for this. No. So just to give me 1 minute. Democratic institutions, okay. Education, water supply, urban. Okay. All right. Sige. And so the big ones, no? Obviously, poverty and unemployment, income gap, income inequality. A lot of these have to do with poor infra and urban planning, no? And that includes inefficient infrastructure. Now, that's in the world and in the Philippines as well, no? Public transportation is also bad. You're right, no? Education is also an issue. Underfunded, unequal access, and poor quality, unequal quality, no? Water and sanitation, no? Child mortality is a big one as well, no? Especially in many parts of the developing world. Healthcare also, then environmental sustainability, including climate change, and food security also. And a lot of incompetence, no, in the world, no, including poor allocation of resources. What about the Philippines? No, similar naman. No, actually, if you think about it, no, a lot of what you see here are applicable also to the Philippines. So some additional ones: lack of access to basic education. Again, corruption as well, no, urban planning, inequality. We are prone to natural disasters, no. We are actually, as they say, no, it's kind of unfair. No, we are not the major emitters of carbon emissions, but we bear the brunt. No? We are highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. So, lugi, di ba? Lack of rural development, we'll discuss this more in Module 4. Land reform, we'll also discuss this no, in Module 4. No? But some of you might be surprised no, when we talk about land reform. Yes, no, in Asia, we are one of the, we have the highest actually. No? If you, when we'll discuss it, we'll discuss in Module 2, no? When we talk about inequality measures like the Gini coefficient. No? We are the highest in Asia, for example. Dynasties, yes. It is not necessarily a development challenge, but it can lead no, to development challenges. There's a paper by Dr. Ron Mendoza of the Ateneo School of Government correlating dynasties with poor development outcomes. Lack of funding in science and research, no? And billionaires. No? Billionaires probably will put this here no? In this bucket. So thank you for that. No? And just that serves as some sort of a refresher and just a pulse check no? On what you guys think. No? I'll stop sharing this. I'll go back to our main screen. All right. Oops. Mali. Sorry. Okay. I will share my screen again. All right. So thanks for your Jamboard participation. No? I'll try to, because to make it less boring, I'll try to introduce more interactive stuff no, during the synchronous sessions and ask you guys more questions no, to make it less boring. So this course really is a supplement to your development economics course. No? As you probably have studied, no, the old paradigm before no, was DevEcon really was the study of how economies are transformed from low growth, no, stagnation to growth, no, and from low income to high income status, no, and overcome problems of absolute poverty. No. But this course will really broaden the definition of development. So it's not just talking about incomes, no, and growth, no, but rather a more broader paradigm of well-being no, and development. So this course really is more about broader development than economics. That's why it's a social science course. It's not an economics course. No, so it's more development than econ. So we have the development challenges, no? But the country itself also has aspirations. So some of you might be familiar with the planning agency of the government called NEDA, no? National Economic and Development Authority. During the last administration, Pinoy administration, I think they launched this in 2015 or 2016. No? They came up with an initiative called Ambition Natin. Or vision. No? It's like it's a play on vision and ambition. So this is basically what they did is they interviewed and had group discussions, interviews with people from all walks of life, from different provinces, and just basically asked them, what are your aspirations? They came up with this sort of long-term vision of Filipinos for themselves, for ourselves. So yun, matatag, maginhawa. It's summarized into 3 things. No? Matatag, maginhawa, at panatag na buhay. No? I am assuming that all of you understand Filipino, no? Even though not all of you might be super comfortable no? Speaking it. No? So I will assume that. No? I'm not sure. I think some videos that I shared on Canvas might be in Filipino. Tagalog siguro. So here, no, it's basically a stable, comfortable lifestyle. No, they will have enough for the daily needs, but beyond that, no, it's not day-to-day. Isang what they call it, the isang kahig isang tuka. No, it's actually having some surplus, a bit of surplus, so they can, they can meet some unexpected expenses, and they can also prepare for their future and their kids. Sorry, laser pointer, and their kids' future as well. So they have a place of their own, not necessarily owned, no, could be rented as well, no? And they have freedom, no, to go where they want, and they feel secure, no? And they're run by a clean, efficient, and fair government. So that's it's nice to have, no? And that's what most Filipinos would aspire for. Not to be uber rich, no, but really be comfortable, no, not just have enough for day-to-day stuff, no? But have some surplus for a rainy day or for the future as well. So, matatag, maginhawa, panatag na buhay. You can watch, I think I shared a video on Canvas on this topic. So what is the difference between economic development and economic growth? Can you guys tell me? Or what do you think? What's the difference? You can tell me. Even just based on what you think, no? Does it mean you'd have to go to your Canvas course? No? What do you think? What's the difference? Go ahead. Si Joaquin. No? Development is about how much economic growth benefits people. That's correct. Also, anyone wants to add anything?
Sir.
Go ahead.
Yes po. Based on the reading po, how I understand it, economic growth is only limited po to the economic factors. So GDP, the income of the household, while economic development focuses on the other aspects of the household, like their health, educational attainment, and also I think happiness factors, if quantifiable or since it's qualitative in nature.
Yes. Yeah. Growth is, there's another chat here. No, growth is GNP, but development is welfare sector. You are absolutely correct, no? All of you actually. No? Although there is no dichotomy naman per se. No? The economic development, to put it simply, no, it's broader. No? It includes, no, it's not the other, but it includes also economic growth, no, and it also includes economic growth translating into well-being indicators. No? Like Yasmin said, economic growth is in the numbers. Yeah, like development. Economic growth is the other indicators, no, the other facets of economic development are more tangible. But you're right. No, so it's a combination of the tangible and the macro, no, for lack of a better term, like GNP figures. So traditionally, no, these were synonymous, no. But as you'll see in the video I included, no, and even in Todaro, no, development is much broader. No? It's growth plus, no? Because sometimes, especially on a macro perspective, the country might be humming, no, might have superior economic growth, no, as in the Philippines, no. Pre-pandemic, no, we were averaging 6%, no, per year, no, GDP growth, and that's awesome, no. But that's not enough necessarily, no. Many people are still, go back to your number, no? Many people are still having difficulty meeting other development factors. No? So economic growth is increased, let's say on a macro level in GDP. So again, you guys are economic econ majors, so I don't need to discuss GDP, GNP in depth. No, growth is just basically enlarging the pizza pie or whatever pie you want. Economic growth is a necessary, kasi it's useless naman. No, if the economy is not growing, the country is not earning money naman, hirap din. No? It also affects kasi the other factors. So it is still necessary. So there is no dichotomy. No? But it goes beyond. It's not saying that it's not important, but it is important. But it's not the be all and end all. It's only a single element of economic development. And to a certain extent, you're right. No, sometimes what's important is the economic growth, no, being translated into more tangible outcomes, no, like access to healthcare, proper roads, etc., etc., no? Or jobs, no, or food, no, food security. Thanks for that. All right. Now, what naman is sustainable development? Anyone? People like to, especially these days, people like to throw the word sustainability all the time. Sustainability this, ganito, ganyan. But what is sustainable development? Anyone? Developing with the future generation's welfare in mind. That's a good way to put it. What else? Yeah. So both of you are absolutely correct. Joaquin and Yasi. Development that doesn't compromise the environment. That's part of it. If you think about it, no, whenever, especially these days, whenever people talk about sustainable development, it's closely synonymous now, no, with the environment. But it goes beyond the environment kasi it's meeting the present without compromising the ability of future generations. Pero yun nga, usually it's synonymous to sustainable development. So in Canvas, no, I included a relatively short video, no, mga 10 minutes of Jeffrey Sachs, no, talking about sustainable development. No. So these days, no, this is closely synonymous with the environment. Kasi nga, if you run out of your natural resources, then wala na. No. In Module 3, we'll talk about the circular economy, that topic, no, as well as what we'll call donut economics, no, which really emphasizes the need for sustainable development. Yeah, so thank you for that. And now we go through the SDGs. All right. So just as a brief background, no, just to underscore the sustainability angle. Just to step back, no, and I think I included this on Canvas. No. When I was about to graduate from college, no, when I was about to start working, no, the UN member countries, no, all of the UN member countries, no. So SDGs, what we call the sustainable development, are sort of a follow-on to an initial set of goals, no, that member countries agreed to. They called it, kasi all member UN countries said yes, they agreed. It was the Millennium Development Goals, no, or MDGs. No. Kaya Millennium kasi it was agreed upon in 2000. No. All member countries were supposed to meet certain goals from 1990, not actually 2000. Kasi, just to step back a bit again, before 2000, no, the UN naman, they have general assemblies every year, no, and merong mga topics doon. No. So, what they did was basically all from 1990s, no, all the way to 2000, they sort of compiled all the targets that they agreed to, plus added some more targets that formed the basis for the Millennium Development Goals. So having poverty by 2015, etc., etc. So if you were to compare, no, sorry, I thought I had the slide, no, pero on Canvas, no, it's explained better, no. Yung it didn't really, if you were to compare the MDGs with the SDGs, no, it was a shorter, a smaller set of goals, no, 8 goals lang siya, no, and not definitely not 231 indicators, no. It only had one goal that talked about sustainability. No? Pero ito, when they met again prior to 2015, they started this in 2015, no, yung SDGs. Now they increased the number of goals, no, to 17, from 8 to 17, and then with corresponding indicators, no, total of 231. No. Now they had more goals, no, that really speak to sustainability. So for example, affordable and clean energy. Wala yan before. MDGs, wala yon. No. Sustainable cities and communities, no? Cities that don't really emit a lot of carbon emissions, no, or reduce it. Responsible consumption and production, no? Wala yan before. Those things, no? Biodiversity, a bit meron before, no? Climate action, I mean, climate change wasn't in vogue, no, in 2000, no? The Inconvenient Truth of Al Gore came out mga 2002 or 3. Yeah, so more goals talking about sustainability, but some of the goals were, were just continue, poverty, hunger, all of these, education, all of these were goals since before. Yeah, so that's the SDGs for you. Just to provide a very, very quick recap. So 17 goals talking about no poverty. By 2030, no, or really reducing it dramatically, zero hunger, health, good health and well-being, quality education, no, gender equality, water and sanitation, no. These are the high-level ones, no. If you have time, no, and you want to explore really the dashboard, no, which is and thank you for those who started answering the discussion board already. Under all of these goals, no, each of these goals, no, you have more very specific sub-goals and indicators. So affordable and clean energy, no, so we can address, no, the warming climate. Decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. No, you need infrastructure for mobility. Inequality, that ties well with the poverty and hunger part, no, because people keep saying, no, the world is not, the world has resources, plenty of resources, just a matter of the distribution. Sustainability, cities and communities, no, the world is rapidly urbanizing. No? The Philippines, for example, no, more than half of the Philippines are already living in urban areas. So you need better planned, better managed cities. I don't need to belabor this. We need more responsible consumption and production, climate action, obviously, biodiversity, both in the seas and also on land, forests, etc. Of course, there's the justice thing as well. And 17 is just, and even in the MDGs, no, goal 8 was also the partnership of countries. No? It's not really a substantive goal, no, like this, no, but it's really telling countries, oh, we need to work together, no? Especially the richer countries providing more support to poorer countries, no, in terms of financial, technical resources, no, to meet these other 16 goals. Just top of your head, no? This is good, no? What are the pros and cons of having 17 goals and 231 indicators? What do you think? Anything you can comment on? You're a country, no? You're presented with 17 goals, you agree to it, and 231 sub-goals or indicators. And you can explore, no, on Canvas. I provided a dashboard there. What are the pros and cons of having these things? Of the entire world agreeing on a number of goals and voluminous indicators. Anyone? Just curious what you guys think. And there is also a critique actually of the SDGs. Anyone? What are the pros and cons of the SDGs as a set of goals? No one? All right. Sige. So ako naman, based on what I've been reading in the development world, the MDGs were sort of manageable. It's good, to have a set of goals, and you can track it. It forces country to every year report on progress, helps them track and helps them let them know of what they need to do. But the problem is many development workers, practitioners were saying the problem with the SDGs, it's just too much. From 8 goals to 17, from I think only 100 indicators to 200. So it's like it's too much, especially for poor countries. Kasi number one, the problem is what will you focus on? It's just too many. Diba? What will be your priority if all the 200 sub-goals are priorities? Then nothing is a priority. Diba? So yun, that's one of the criticisms. Sobrang dami. And just imagine just tracking and monitoring the data. NEDA does this. It's also a burden to poorer countries who might not have good data systems placed. So that's one of the major criticisms. Kasi the more you have, the more that you're confused. So what do we prioritize on? But it's a good list, to sort of refer to, so that you know what the priorities should be. Although ito lang sumobra na. Diba? All right. Let me know lang if you have questions. So this is for the Philippines. So basically, red is bad. Definitely, it means we're not doing well. We're even regressing. The yellow 45-degree arrow going up means we're so-so. We're gradually getting there, but not super great on average. The gray ones mean we're not, there's no data. The green one, basically, yes, it means we are progressing significantly. This one naman is wala, no movement necessarily, yung sideways. So we're not doing great on education. Wait lang, there's a direct message, sorry. Let me check. Oh, sorry, I didn't see your message earlier. I think having all of these goals helps emphasize the importance of each and every goal. However, I agree with you that it's still quite the burden. We don't have enough resources to prioritize all the goals all at once. Correct, no? And you guys might not know this, no? The Philippine government, no, quote unquote, is actually decentralized, meaning some of the responsibilities don't fall with Malacanang or the departments. They actually fall on the hands of your local governments. Imagine a backward, a low-class municipality. No? Yun, talagang. So what do we do? We'll talk about more. We'll talk about localization more in Module 2. Especially when I introduced the community-based monitoring system. So quality education has been getting worse, especially during the pandemic. And we have stagnated in many ways. Clean energy, biodiversity, life on land. We've been cutting our forests, etc. Some progress in terms of our poverty work, hunger work, some healthcare. It's better to go to the more specific stuff. So this is a list of some of our problematic areas in the Philippines, sa country. So for hunger, no, kasi nga it's 16 goals, 17 goals, no, but each goal has sub goals and indicators. So we're really, I just got the keywords too. So for hunger, stunting and wasting, no, so a lot of the kids, no, these days, no, are what we call stunted, or basically they weigh less than what they're supposed to, no, for their age and for their height. Wasting is undernourished talaga, no? Under height and underweight. So health naman, we've been having issues, no, sa country, no, since the last 2-3 years or even more, no, with non-communicable diseases, no. This is a because a lot of people are obese, no, just like me, for example, no. More Filipinos are dying of non-communicable disease, heart disease, diabetes, etc. No, kidney failure, no. Tuberculosis also is a problem, no. Life expectancy has been a bit stagnant, no. And this is a worrisome phenomenon, no. Teenage pregnancy, no. It's becoming more problematic in the past 5 years. Sorry, just to go back to stunting and wasting, this is also problematic because this has implications for the future. The problem is studies show that if you are undernourished, especially during your first 5 years, no, of life, no, you will have less brain power. And 1/3 done, I think roughly 1 out of 3 Filipino children are malnourished. No, so that's a big problem. No? It affects your potential mental capacity, which has implications for the country's future productivity. Yun, that's a big problem. Sorry, forgot to mention. Education, even before the pandemic, no, enrollment rates, no, completion rates actually have been dropping, and it's more apparent for guys, no, for boys than girls. No? Girls have higher enrollment and completion rates, so it's becoming a problem as well. Problema nga the quality of education, especially public education, is already one thing, and kids are not finishing school. Gender, no, there's still we are number 1, I think, in Asia in terms of gender equality in the workplace, but we still need to boost the participation of females in the labor force. And there's also still a lot of unmet demand for modern contraception services and commodities. We'll cover this in module 4 when we talk about population and demography. Energy, we're still a bit problematic on CO2 emissions, no? Although we did commit to reducing our CO2 emissions by 70% under the Paris Declaration. A bit ambitious, but we'll see. Decent work and economic growth, no. They're saying, no, based on the report, no, some of the labor rights are not upheld, no, are not respected, and some people still don't have what we call, the term here is financial inclusion, which basically means those people who are not who need, let's say, for businesses, no, people who need capital for their businesses are not able to access them, or people don't have access to bank accounts, don't have access to traditional financial services. Kasi you or your parents, it's easy, no? Your families used to transacting with banks, etc. Pero that's not true for many Filipinos. So they're financially excluded from financial services like bank accounts, loans, etc. But the good thing is, with the advent of fintech, no, mga GCash, PayMaya, which was the evolution to that, no, to mobile money or electronic money was in a sense accelerated by the pandemic. So at least fintech is trying to close that financial inclusion gap. Innovation, there's still one thing, no, in terms of that goal, no. Still a lot of people with poor access to the internet, and there were still laggards when it comes to innovation. The proxy there, no, or the indicator they use is publications, no, or patents. No. Kasi with patents, no, you'd expect, for example, Silicon Valley, they have a lot of patents. No? Tayo, konti lang. No? Especially if you compare us with, uh, with our ASEAN neighbors. The problem with lack of patents and lack of publications means kulang yung high-tech mo. No? Kulang yung capacity mo for cutting-edge stuff. And then you're just basically you're not investing, no? Or there's not a lot of local innovation here. So medyo backward, routine investments, not your high-tech investments. Cities naman, no? As you know, no? Especially in major urban areas, problem with management of slums, informal settlements, and access to water as well. No? Public transportation is not great. No? So these are the sub-indicators that were problematic, no? Based on the UN report. No? And obviously, no, I think you guys will agree to most, no, of these sub-indicators. In terms of land, no, still a lot of things to be done in terms of biodiversity protection. And of course, for justice, no, as most of you wrote earlier, no, still a lot of corruption, security, and this is sort of a new one, no, unsentenced detainees. No? So they're saying our jails or temporary facilities are overpopulated, no, waiting for their trials. Even the Philippines is known to have very, very lengthy trial periods. Can take decades before trials are concluded. So that, in a nutshell, is our performance, no, as a country, no, in terms of the SDGs. No? So come next year, no, they will publish another report, the UN, no, based on the data that we actually track also. No? So the NEDA website, no, NEDA has a tracker, an SDGs website as well, SDGs page. So for your discussion board on SDGs, no, just a few notes, no. Be specific. You can argue, no. You can debate if you want to, but be respectful, no. Doesn't mean you'll completely agree with anyone, no. Not just for the discussion board, but just for your own life advice. Read the news, no, but avoid reading only one source. No? Be wary, for example, of news outlets that are biased for or against government in general or the current government. So, for example, lang, no, if you ask me, sir, ano kaya yung mga yan? Based on what I've observed, no, the pro Duterte, for example, pro Duterte media outfits are the Daily Tribune and Manila Times. The anti-Duterte outfits are Rappler and Inquirer. My personal preferences, no, Manila Bulletin, they're more objective. Business World, those two things. Philippine Star, hit or miss. So those two I would highly recommend. Manila Bulletin can be boring because they're objective. Walang slant sometimes. No? The problem with Manila Times or Rappler, no, sometimes they have a pro or are rabidly anti-Duterte or anti-government angle. No? So think lang. No? And it's good to read different news material, no? From different sources. Think critically, ask critically. Wag lang yung kasi pangit government is not performing well. Be specific. No, parang government is not doing enough for blah, blah, blah. And why? So think critically, ask critically. That's true for all of your discussions. The next topic, no, and all of these are on Canvas, no, and I'm just breezing through them because, again, the synchronous sessions are supposed to be provide summaries of what you're learning on Canvas. So the world, as obviously, as everyone knows, no, are still facing the effects, no, of the pandemic, no? And the Philippines really, especially in its first year facing the pandemic, we really suffered. No? We had record high unemployment. No, that was, I think, post-war. No, 17.6%, no? In the second quarter. No, hunger doubled, no, in 2020 at least. No, and actually, we already have some initial poverty estimates for 2021. We'll cover that on module 2. But now, no, before PSA, no, the Philippine Statistics Authority agency, no, came out with 2021 first half, no, 2021 poverty data. No, there were already some studies that, no, tried to estimate the impact of COVID. No? So ito, for example, no, this was an initial simulation, no, by PIDS, no, Philippine Institute for Development Studies. If you want solid papers, no, on development, PIDS is a good resource. No? That's the Philippine Institute for Development Studies. No? So they were saying, no, most likely in 2020, no, poverty, you know this already, no, the incidence, the poverty incidence, with the ayuda, no, SAP, no, Social Amelioration Program, poverty would have increased, no, by should have, no, by almost 6 percentage points, pero because of the ayuda, yun, medyo na offset, but it still would have increased by almost 2 percentage points. That's among families, no. Among the population naman, no, it's even higher. The problem is, you might be saying, ay, hindi, 1% lang naman. No? But, you know, in the Philippines, since we are more than 100 million, 1% or 1 percentage point is already 1 billion people. No? So, yun. So, 8 percentage point in the Philippines matters quite a lot. So, ito, they were saying, no, among Filipinos, no, not among families, even with the ayuda, no, they were simulating that, you know, almost 3 million Filipinos could have fallen into poverty in 2020. But next week, no, when we start module 2, no, we'll revisit, no, or we'll cover, no, the initial estimates of the Philippine Statistics Authority for the first half of 2021. Kasi before, they only measured it once a year, no? Once every 3 years. Ngayon, it's like they do it twice on the survey year. Every 3 years pa rin, pero they do it mid-year and then end of the year. We'll talk more about measuring poverty next week. Just wanted to highlight that definitely COVID had some really bad economic effects in the country. And talking about GDP, GNP, this is GDP, no? We had the worst economic performance post-World War II, no? In 2020. No? In the second quarter, no? Coinciding with the record high unemployment, record contraction in GDP, 16.9%. Full year was almost double digits, no? -10. The good thing is, based on recent data, no, it seems, at least for 2021, we have recovered, no, but it's still not back to pre-pandemic levels. Yeah, and just to give you more examples, no, this was 2020, no. In 2021, it's a bit better, no? But see, no. Imagine, you're familiar with GDP naman. So, you know, GDP, you can disaggregate it by sectors, no? You go to the subsectors, no? Grabe, imagine the what economist Emmanuel De Jos considers as the experience economy, no? Kasi nga, everyone was trying to just, you know, stay put, no, in their households. Accommodation, no, and food service activities, for example, almost contracted by almost half, no? Grabe. Imagine, no? Really big slump. No? Transport, storage, construction really fell. No? But, you know, on the flip side, no, there were some sectors that flourished. No? So as you would expect, no, financial, no, government needed to provide ayuda, etc. Yung banks, mga fintechs, etc. It grew. Financial services grew, no? Insurance as well. ICT, obviously, no? The pandemic accelerated our adoption of e-stuff, no? E-commerce, e-learning, what have you. And of course, no, more government spending because government had to give assistance to people and businesses. Ito, no, another, I found this slide interesting. This was, I think, based on a survey by ADB or the World Bank. No? They did a survey, no, I think mid-2020, no, a few months after the pandemic started. Grabe, oh, look at this. No? So all sectors, no, had at least 56% ito, no, of the shops, offices, etc. of all sectors closed at least temporarily. Look at the arts and entertainment. No? 80% no, were closed at least temporarily, no? With 1 out of 5 no, closing permanently. So that was really the damage no, dealt by the COVID. No? It wasn't just the health. No? We keep arguing. COVID was not just bad for the country's health, people's health. It was also the economy, no? And people, obviously, no? Because if you have shutdowns, obviously, you have a lot of unemployment, as you saw here. So those are the development impacts of COVID-19. So it's what we call backsliding, no? So it really has threatened. No? ADB had this article and paper. No? So imagine, no, they were saying, no, the pandemic pushed an estimated 75 to 80 million people, more people, no, in Asia alone, no, developing Asia, into extreme poverty. So yeah, no, without the pandemic, would have most Asian countries would have made great strides no, in meeting the SDGs, in progressing towards the SDGs. So yeah, it's not just the Philippines, mind you, globally and Asia, especially developing countries. We're grateful for the vaccines. I just read the news article saying that 60 million Filipinos now are fully vaccinated. I hope most of you or all of you also, no? So you can go back to school physically, no, in August or September. Hopefully, cross fingers. So actually, we're done with Module 1 or the recap of Module 1. So I did not want to preempt this, no. So I just wanted you guys, no, to remind you. This is the last page. Yes, last page of Module 1. I included a TED Talk here. No? It's a bit long, 13 minutes. You don't have to finish the video, but it's a very engaging video. So he basically has this premise that the poor do not deserve your pity. And we'll discuss this next week. Why? Why is he saying? Is it bad to pity the poor? So make sure you watch this no, before class next week. We'll discuss this next week. If you've watched this, great. No? Good for you. So you're done with Module 1. So in terms of schedule, I will be posting Module 2 by the weekend. Most likely mga Saturday. If I can by Friday, I will. Usually, the basic stuff is the same as my previous econ class before. No? But since I have new material, no, I will include that as well. Kasi I don't like my material to be outdated. Gusto ko palaging fresh. No? Sometimes I include articles that I just found last week. So I try to be, to give you updated stuff as much as I can. All right. So thank you for joining. Any questions on Module 0? More operational questions or on Module 1? Please let me know.
Sir, I have a question.
Go ahead.
For regarding the groupings po, so we will only have one group assessment where it's like 4 people sa final assessment na po.
Okay. So let me share my screen. Wait, let me just do just to recap. Wait. Let me just share my screen again. So we're all share screen here. Okay. Let me show this again. So I didn't mention this, no, but I was expecting to. I was supposed to explain this the next few weeks pa naman. So the groupings, no, for this one, the dyad, no, that's different, no, from your groupings, obviously, no, from the groupings for number 3, no? Sorry, for number 3 and number 4. The groupings for the group minor report, no, and the final integrated output will be the same. So what will happen is I still have to talk to your NSTP big case and possibly your econ. We're still unsure, no, whether we're going to include your econometrics course in the final output. Pero I'll talk to them about the specific groupings of how we're going to group you guys. No? Pero whatever group you will have for the FIO, no, the final integrated output, will be the same for number 3, no, for your group minor report, which is all about critiquing a law. No? But the dyad paper obviously is different. This one you get to choose. No? This one I still have to discuss with my counterparts, no, sa OSCE and Econ, no, how we're gonna go about. Pero ito, same to. Whatever your group will be for number 4, for the FIO, final integrated output, will be the same for the group report.
Okay, sir. Thank you for clearing that up.
All right. Sige, si Dieter, sige.
Hi, sir. I just have a question with regards to what if you finished NSTP and econometrics?
Okay. Yes, please email me because I will forget that we talked about this. No, someone already also sent me an email about that. So please, please email me to remind me that, sir, I mentioned during class, no, because we might assign a different final output for you, no, but I will assign you to a group for number 3 for the group minor report. I'll do that. Sige. Because I don't want you to go through unless you want to, pero malabo naman, through NSTP, no? Not that it's bad, but of course it's taking time away from you for something that you've done already. And econometrics, no? Of course, definitely not. So sige, please let me know. No? Yun nga, as I mentioned earlier, for those of you having unique circumstances, you're in your 5th year and you've done NSTP, you've done econometrics, let me know. Because I will probably assign you or group you with others facing the same thing. So let me know para lang I know, no, how to sort of maneuver the group assignments, especially for unique cases such as yours.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, last question. Is there a maximum number of members for the FIO and group report?
In the past, it's usually around 5 lang. Around 5, 6 max na yun.
Okay,
4 to
sir.
5. 4 to 5 usually. I think based on ISIS, no, we're less than 30. So baka 4 to 5 lang per group. But I'll confer with my counterpart. So matagal pa naman to eh. This will be due in May pa. So and we still haven't finalized the guidelines anyway. Any other questions pala? Thank you. No? And again, feel free to ask any question kahit hindi content related. All right. I think, sorry, I think someone wanted to, oops, I sent you the wrong message. For those of you who want to stay behind, no, let me know. No? I will stop the recording. You can stay behind. Anyone else have ask a question? No. If you want like to ask me something specific after class, you can stay behind. No? So sorry, no, Angela, I didn't mean to send you a message. It was for the other person. I don't have to mention her name. Sige lang. All right. Sige. So the rest of you, you can probably go and have your dinner or do something else. Thank you. I'll see you guys. Hopefully, most of you next week. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry, sir. I'll just
Sige.
email you regarding my concern. Because
Sige. You
about
sure?
the group.
Kasi let me
Yeah.
just stop recording now para lang sure. Or I think I stopped recording. Hindi, I'm still recording. Pero sige, if you're embarrassed, it's okay.